Snow fell in slow, gentle flakes over the quiet park, softening the sounds of the city beyond. The world seemed to hold its breath as Daniel Cross stood by the bench, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee in his hands. His breath fogged in the cold air, his heart thudding a little too fast for reasons he couldn't explain. He hadn't seen her in years, not since the day everything fell apart, and now, standing there under the gray winter sky, he wasn't sure if he was ready to face what was coming. He told himself it was just coffee, just closure. But deep down, he knew better. Some ghosts didn't stay buried forever. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us bring more real, heart-touching stories like this one. 3 years ago, Daniel Cross had everything he ever wanted. Or at least, that's what he thought. A loving partner, a good job, and a peaceful home in a small New Hampshire town where winters were long but beautiful. Life was simple, steady, and warm. Until the day his past showed up at his doorstep, in the form of a letter that shattered everything. He had met Claire years before, back in college, long before he met Emily, the woman he would later build his life with. Claire had been the kind of person who burned bright and fast, with laughter that filled rooms and eyes that carried the sadness of someone who had seen too much too young. They loved each other fiercely, recklessly, and for a while Daniel thought she was his forever. But life pulled them in different directions. She left without a word, and Daniel buried that chapter, convincing himself it was just young love that was never meant to last. Then one morning, a letter arrived. The handwriting was unmistakable. It was Claire's. The words were few, shaky, and almost desperate. "Daniel, I'm sorry I never told you. You have a daughter. Her name is Lily. She's 5. And she keeps asking about her daddy." Daniel read those words again and again until they blurred. The world seemed to tilt beneath him. Guilt washed over him like cold rain, though he didn't even know why yet. He hadn't known. He couldn't have known. But still, a daughter? 5 years of her life gone by without him? Emily found him sitting on the couch with the letter trembling in his hands. Her face drained of color when she saw it. "You have a daughter?" she whispered, the words breaking like glass. That moment changed everything. The silence that followed stretched for days, weeks. Emily couldn't look at him the same way. To her, it didn't matter that he hadn't known. What mattered was that now, there was a part of his life, his heart, that belonged to someone else. Eventually, Emily left. The apartment emptied of laughter, the warmth gone. Daniel found himself alone, haunted by a name he had never said aloud. Lily. For months he didn't know what to do. He didn't know if Claire even wanted him to be part of their lives or if the letter had been a cry for help sent too late. He wrote back, but no reply came. Until one cold February morning he received a call. Claire's sister, Hannah, told him the truth that froze him to the core. Claire was gone. A car accident. She hadn't survived. And now Lily was living with Hannah in a small town just outside Boston. Daniel drove there the same night. He didn't think. He just drove through the snow, headlights cutting through the darkness, heart pounding with every mile. When he arrived, he saw her for the first time. A little girl with big brown eyes, bundled in a green coat, clutching a stuffed rabbit. She looked up at him, confused but curious. And then she said the words that would echo in his heart forever. "She said she missed you, Daddy, but you never told me about her." Hannah's voice trembled when she spoke. "Claire used to tell her about you, said you were brave, kind, that you loved her even from far away." She never wanted Lily to think she wasn't loved. Daniel knelt down on the snow-covered porch and looked at the girl who was his blood, his daughter. He wanted to speak, to say something, but all he could manage was a whisper. "I'm sorry, sweetheart, I didn't know. I should have been there." Lily smiled, small and shy, then offered him her toy rabbit. "Mommy said you'd come when the snow came back." He broke down right there, holding her in his arms as snowflakes melted against their cheeks. The weeks that followed were not easy. Daniel stayed in town, trying to find ways to be part of Lily's life without disrupting the stability Hannah had built for her. He would visit every Saturday, bringing small gifts, books, crayons, sometimes just stories. Lily loved listening to him talk. She would sit on the rug, wide-eyed, while Daniel told her tales of the stars, of a brave little bird who always found its way home. But every night when he went back to his empty apartment, he would sit by the window, wondering if he deserved to call himself her father. How could he be when he had missed her first words, her first steps, her birthdays? Guilt followed him like a shadow. Still, he kept showing up. Because for the first time in years, something inside him had awakened, something worth fighting for. One afternoon, while they were building a snowman outside Hannah's house, Lily looked up at him and said, "Daddy, why did Mommy have to go to heaven?" Daniel froze. He swallowed hard, feeling the lump in his throat. "Because sometimes, sweetheart, heaven needs the best people early, but she's still with you. Every time it snows, every time you laugh, she's there." Lily smiled softly. "Then she's here now." Daniel nodded, blinking away tears. "Yeah, she is." Months passed. Slowly, life began to stitch itself together. Daniel started a new job nearby so he could stay close. He learned how to braid hair from YouTube videos, packed lunches for school, and learned the art of bedtime stories and nightlight rituals. But even as joy returned, the ache of what was lost never fully faded. He missed Emily, the woman who had once been his home. He often thought about calling her, but the guilt of everything that had happened held him back. Then one morning, while walking through the park with Lily, he saw her, Emily, standing near a lamppost, bundled in a white coat and pink scarf, holding a book close to her chest. She looked almost the same, yet there was something softer in her eyes, or maybe he was just seeing her differently. Lily was the first to notice her. "Daddy, who's that?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Someone I used to care about very much." Lily grinned. "Then go say hi." Emily turned as they approached. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The snow fell gently between them, like time itself pausing. Finally, Emily smiled. "You look different," she said quietly. "Calmer." Daniel laughed softly. "Guess being a dad will do that to you." Her gaze shifted to Lily, who was busy collecting snow in her mittens. "She's beautiful," Emily whispered. "She's everything," Daniel replied. They stood there in silence for a while, the kind that didn't hurt, the kind that healed. Finally, Emily said, "She told me she missed you, Daddy, but you never told me about her." Daniel's breath caught. The words hit him like a wave, familiar and heavy. But this time, he smiled. "I didn't know how. I didn't even know she existed until it was almost too late." Emily looked at him, eyes glistening. "And now?" "Now," he said softly, watching Lily toss a snowball into the air, "I'm never missing another moment." For a long moment, Emily didn't move. Then slowly, she stepped closer, reaching out to take the spare cup of coffee from his hand, the one he'd been holding out since she arrived. "Just coffee?" she asked, a hint of the old warmth in her tone. "For now," Daniel said, smiling, "but maybe, one day, more." The three of them stood there, framed by falling snow and soft winter light, a broken family quietly mending in the heart of a frozen park. As the weeks passed, Emily began joining them more often. Walks through the park, lunches at small diners, afternoons helping Lily with her drawings. What started as cautious civility slowly grew into something gentler, warmer. Daniel often caught himself wondering how life had managed to come full circle, how a tragedy could lead him here, to a moment that felt like grace. He had lost so much, but perhaps life was giving him a second chance. Not to erase the past, but to honor it by being better today. One evening, after tucking Lily into bed, Daniel stood by the window watching the snow fall again. Emily stood beside him, her hand brushing against his. Neither spoke. The world outside was quiet, peaceful. And for the first time in a long time, Daniel didn't feel alone. He whispered softly, as if to the night, "She said she missed you, Daddy, but you never told me about her." Then he smiled, closing his eyes. "Now I'll never stop telling her. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. And let others feel the warmth of love, forgiveness, and second chances." Before you go, tell us in the comments, what would you do if you discovered a child you never knew you had? Would you seek forgiveness or let the past stay buried?